Lyra stepped off the transport shuttle and onto the polished floors of the Orion Interstellar Academy. Her boots clicked softly, but she barely noticed. Everywhere she looked, strange creatures moved with grace and confidence. Tentacles waved. In the air, wings flapped silently, and multi-eyed aliens scuttled across the walls like they belonged there. And yet Lyra, a human girl from the harsh world of Keltron, felt calm. She had survived storms that could crush a vehicle and predators that could tear apart a spacecraft. Compared to that, a room full of aliens was nothing. Her hair was tied back in a simple braid, and her green eyes scanned the enormous hall. Banners hung from the ceiling, each representing a planet from across the galaxy. She had dreamed of this moment for years, though no one on Keltron had believed she would make it. "Next," shouted a voice that made her pause. It was the instructor. He was tall, with sharp, angular features covered in dark feathers. His wings stretched wide behind him, giving him a commanding presence. His beak curved down in what looked like a permanent scowl. Lyra walked forward, her posture steady, and said, "Who do we have here?" the alien said, eyeing her like she was an insect. "A human, from Keltron no less." "Are you sure you belong here?" Lyra smiled faintly. "I was accepted," she said simply. The instructor tilted his head and laughed, a sound like stone scraping against metal. "Accepted? Yes. Can you keep up? Or will you stumble and fall like the fragile creatures I have seen from your planet?" A ripple of laughter ran through the classroom. Alien students whispered and nudged each other. Lyra ignored them. He had been mocked her whole life for being human in a universe where aliens were bigger, faster, and stronger. It didn't matter. She didn't need their approval. "Move 2. The test platform," the instructor snapped, pointing with one clawed hand. Lyra stepped onto a raised platform. The room opened up into a vast zero-gravity obstacle course. Platforms hovered in midair, spinning rings rotated, and holographic walls flashed with moving patterns. This was a test of agility and intelligence. Combined, a challenge most species could barely manage in their first attempt. The instructor spread his wings dramatically. "We will see if the fragile human can even float without crashing. Shh. Everyone watch closely. This will be amusing." Lyra took a deep breath. On Keltron, she had climbed cliffs that scraped the sky, leapt between moving trees in violent storms, and navigated rivers teeming with predators. Her body moved instinctively. Her mind was sharp and focused. "Ready?" the instructor asked, though he already knew the answer. Lyra nodded. The test began. The first platform tilted suddenly, and Lyra jumped, twisting midair. The alien students gasped as she landed perfectly. Rings spun at irregular speeds, walls shifted, and lights flashed in confusing patterns. Each obstacle required timing, thought, and balance. The instructor flapped his wings in irritation. Impossible. No human could. Lyra had already disappeared from his sight. She moved like water, flowing over and around every obstacle. She didn't just react, she anticipated. When a spinning ring started to turn too fast, she adjusted her body mid-jump, landing lightly on the next platform. When a holographic wall shifted, she dodged silently, almost like she was invisible. The alien students watched in disbelief. Some tried to mimic her movements but failed miserably. Tentacles tangled, wings collided, and claws scraped the walls. Lyra moved with precision and grace, yet she did not rush. Every step was measured, every jump perfect. Halfway through the course, the instructor stopped. His eyes narrowed. "This cannot be. She moves. Too fast. Too precise."
"How can she?"
Lyra heard the words but ignored them. On Keltron, she had played survival games where catching prey or escaping hazards required lightning reflexes. The spheres were easy. She caught each one perfectly, spinning in midair without a single mistake. The classroom was silent now. Whispers replaced laughter. Even the instructor had stopped mocking, his beak slightly open, wings stiff. Lyra landed softly on the final platform, a smile tugging at her lips. She had completed the course faster than anyone had predicted. The instructor's feathers ruffled in anger. "Luck," he snapped. "You were lucky. No human can move like that consistently." Lyra shook her head. "It's not luck, it's skill and practice. It's in humans from my world." We survive because we adapt. A few alien students looked at her with new interest. They had never met a human who didn't need mechanical enhancements to compete. Lyra had nothing but her body and her mind. Enough talking. The instructor barked, though his voice lacked its usual confidence. Next challenge. The labyrinth puzzle. If you are truly capable, you will solve it. Lyra stepped into the labyrinth chamber. It was a room filled with shifting walls, moving tiles, and floating obstacles. This time, intelligence mattered as much as agility. Aliens often relied on their physical abilities, but humans used both body and mind together. The walls began to shift. Tiles moved under her feet, forcing her to jump at just the right moment. She paused, observing patterns and remembering sequences. Her mind worked quickly, calculating routes while her body adjusted effortlessly. The instructor paced outside the chamber, muttering to himself, "Impossible. She should be trapped. How can she minutes pass, then seconds?" Lyra reached the center of the labyrinth, untouched and unflustered. She placed her hand on the final panel. The chamber lit up with green light. The alien students erupted into applause. And even a few of the instructor's colleagues peeked inside, curious. Lyra looked back at the door, her chest calm, eyes steady. She had proven herself not to impress anyone, but simply because she could. The instructor's beak opened, then closed. He didn't clap, didn't speak. Instead, he turned sharply and walked away, feathers bristling in frustration. Lyra had done the impossible. She had moved in ways he had never seen, using speed, intelligence, and intuition that no alien had expected from a human. One small alien student approached her cautiously. You were amazing," it said softly. "I've never seen anyone move like that before." Lyra smiled warmly. "Thank you. It's just what we do on Keltron." The student blinked. "Your world is really dangerous." Lyra nodded. "Yes, it's harsh. It teaches you to be ready for anything. That's why I can move like this here. It's not magic, it's training." By the end of the day, whispers about the human girl from Keltron spread throughout the academy. Students started watching her carefully, trying to learn from her movements. Even the instructor could no longer ignore her. He had underestimated her, and for the first time, he felt a pang of respect, and maybe even fear. Lyra walked through the corridors after class. Unnoticed except for curious glances. She didn't boast, didn't taunt. She had won not through words, but through action. And she knew this was only the beginning. Tomorrow, new tests awaited. More obstacles, more puzzles, more challenges, but Lyra was ready. She had already learned the most important lesson. In a galaxy full of powerful aliens, humans had something unique. Adaptability, cleverness, and patience. Skills that no alien could mimic as Lee. The morning light spilled into the Orion Interstellar Academy, casting long shadows across the gleaming floors. Lyra walked through the corridors with calm steps, the hum of the station surrounding her. Whispers followed her, not loud enough to disturb, but enough for her to know that the aliens were talking. She had become the subject of fascination and a little fear. The instructor, Crive, paced in his office, feathers bristling. He had tried to dismiss her yesterday, but Lyra had moved in ways he had never imagined. Every calculation, every jump, every puzzle solved perfectly. He felt a mixture of irritation and awe. He could not deny if this human girl was exceptional. "Prepare the next challenge," he barked at the assistant droids. "If she can handle this, she might. She might actually belong here. But I will see exactly how far she can go." Lyra arrived at the training arena. A massive chamber with walls that could shift, floors that could rotate, and holographic panels that displayed complex sequences. Alien students gathered around, eager to watch. Many wanted to see if the human could repeat her performance, or if yesterday had been a fluke. Crive's wings spread as he stepped forward. Today, the test is not just agility, but intelligence under pressure. The labyrinth simulation will combine moving platforms, shifting walls, and logic puzzles. "Many of you will fail," he paused. Then his sharp eyes narrowed at Lyra. "And you, human, do not disappoint." Lyra smiled faintly. "I will do my best," she said, calm and steady. She had learned long ago that staying composed was half the battle. The simulation began. The walls of the arena shifted, creating a maze-like structure. Platforms rotated, forcing students to jump at precise angles. Holographic symbols flashed, representing sequences that needed to be memorized to unlock gates. Alien students launched into the challenge immediately. Some faltered, miscalculating jumps or ignoring the symbols. Others moved too fast, trying to beat the maze with strength rather than thought. Lyra paused for a moment, observing. She didn't rush. Her green eyes scanned the maze, calculating patterns, memorizing sequences, noticing small hints that others overlooked. Then she moved. Lyra leaped onto the first platform, twisting midair with perfect timing. She landed softly on the next, her movements quiet but precise. A floating holographic panel flashed a sequence: red, blue, yellow. Lyra tapped the panels in the correct order instinctively, her hands moving smoothly. She did not stumble. She did not hesitate. Crive's beak opened in disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "No human should move like that." Halfway through the simulation, Lyra reached a rotating floor with 3 moving platforms. Timing was everything. A misstep would send her sliding into a trap or force her to restart the sequence. She leaped onto the first, then the second, counting rotations silently. On the third, she paused briefly, noting the exact speed of rotation, then jumped. She landed perfectly, as if she had anticipated every movement. An alien student whispered to another she doesn't just react. She plans ahead, Lyra continued, moving through the maze with a rhythm and precision that seemed almost effortless. She noticed a small alien struggling with a floating platform. Without slowing down, she guided it toward the correct sequence with a gentle nudge of her hand. The student blinked in surprise, then followed her guidance. Crive frowned. This was not just skill. This was intelligence, patience, and strategy combined. He had expected her to rely on speed, but humans from Keltron moved differently. They adapted. They watched. They waited on, then they acted with perfect timing. The final stage of the labyrinth was a series of floating cubes, each displaying a puzzle. Solve the puzzle, and the cube would rise, forming a bridge to the next platform. Lyra approached the first cube. A pattern of symbols flashed: circles, triangles, and squares. She analyzed the sequence quickly and tapped the correct order. The cube lifted, forming a bridge. She moved across, solving each puzzle without hesitation. Alien students gasped as some failed repeatedly on the same puzzles. Lyra's mind worked differently. Her life on Keltron had trained her to survive in extreme conditions, to think quickly, and to solve problems under pressure. Here, she applied those instincts effortlessly. Finally, Lyra reached the center of the simulation. A golden platform rose slowly beneath her feet. The maze's wall shifted back, revealing the audience. She had completed the challenge flawlessly. The chamber fell silent. Even the aliens who had doubted her watched in awe. Crive's feathers were ruffled. His beak was slightly open. He had never seen anyone, human or alien, complete the labyrinth so perfectly. Lyra turned to the other students. "It's not luck," she said softly. "It's observation, practice, and thinking carefully. That's how I move like this." One young alien, with soft blue scales, stepped forward. I've never seen anyone do that before. How can you be so fast and still think clearly?" Lyra smiled. "On my world, we have to. If you make one mistake, it can cost you everything. You learn to move, think, and survive all at once." Crive flapped his wings in frustration, then sighed. "Enough. You've proven something. Perhaps humans are not as weak as I assumed." Lyra nodded politely, showing no triumph, only calm confidence. She didn't need to boast. Her actions spoke for themselves. Over the next week, students from other species began asking her for tips. How did she balance so well? How did she solve puzzles so quickly? How did she move without hesitation? Lyra shared small pieces of advice, teaching patience and observation rather than shortcuts. She was not trying to dominate. She wanted everyone to improve. One afternoon, Crive called her to the instructor's office. He was pacing again, feathers bristling, but this time in a mixture of irritation and curiosity. "Lyra," he said, "you are unusual. No human has ever performed like this. I want to understand. How do you prepare for challenges like these?" Lyra tilted her head. "I watch first, then I move carefully. I don't rely on strength or speed alone. I rely on understanding the situation, planning my actions, and adjusting when necessary." Crive nodded slowly, as if absorbing her words for the first time. "And yet, you still move faster than almost every alien here. It's what happens when survival depends on it," Lyra said simply. "We have to adapt or fail. On Keltron, failure isn't an option." Crive paused, then said quietly, "Perhaps underestimated humans," Lyra smiled. "It's easy to do. Most people judge by size or strength, but humans are different. We learn to survive, to adapt, and to think creatively." The instructor looked at her, a mix of respect and astonishment in his eyes. For the first time, he saw a human not as fragile or weak, but as exceptional. Later, in the zero-gravity cafeteria, Lyra sat with a few curious alien students. They asked her about life on Keltron, the storms, the predators, and the harsh terrain. She told them stories, carefully choosing words to show the challenges she had faced. The aliens listened, amazed. They realized that the human who had moved so effortlessly through the labyrinth had grown up in a place far more dangerous than any Academy challenge. As the day ended, Lyra returned to her quarters. She looked out at the stars, twinkling above the Academy. She knew this was only the beginning. There would be more tests, more challenges, and more skeptical instructors. But she was ready. Humans had a strength that aliens could not see at first glance. Adaptability, ingenuity, observation, patience, and above all, the quiet confidence to act when the moment was right. Crive watched from his office window as students left the training arena. He sighed, feathers still ruffled. "I never saw her move. And now I understand," he muttered. "No one should underestimate humans again." Lyra smiled quietly to herself. She didn't need the praise, only the challenge. And in this academy of the galaxy's brightest, she had found a place where she could continue to grow and maybe, in the process, teach aliens a thing or two about the human spirit. The academy was filled with wonders, puzzles, and impossible challenges. But Lyra had already proven that humans from a Deathworld could not only survive, but excel in ways no one expected. And tomorrow, a new test awaited one that would require all her agility, intelligence, and patience to succeed. For now, she rested, ready for whatever came next, calm in the knowledge that she had earned the respect of her peers, and had begun to reshape the expectations of her instructors. The sun of the nearby star cast a soft orange glow across the Orion Interstellar Academy. Today was special. The Academy had announced a galaxy-wide challenge, a test designed for the best students from every planet and species. It was the final evaluation meant to show who could think quickly, adapt to new environments, and work with teammates. Lyra stepped onto the transport platform, her green eyes calm and steady. Around her, aliens of all shapes and sizes prepared for the challenge. Some stretched their limbs, others adjusted equipment, while a few whispered nervously. Humans were rare at this academy, and even rarer in the final challenge. Crive stood near the entrance, wings slightly furled. He had watched Lyra for days, learning to respect her abilities. For the first time, he did not doubt her. "Lyra," he said, his voice softer than usual, "this challenge will test everything you have learned. Remember your training and remember your instincts." Lyra nodded. "I will, thank you." The first stage of the challenge began. Teams were formed randomly, mixing aliens and humans. Lyra found herself paired with a small, four-armed alien who looked nervous and towering. A gentle creature with translucent skin that shimmered in the light. Their first task was simple in explanation but tricky in execution. Navigate an unpredictable terrain filled with moving platforms. shifting lights and floating obstacles. The transport doors opened, revealing a vast arena. Gravity shifted at intervals, walls rotated unpredictably, and holographic symbols flashed across the air. Many teams rushed forward without planning. Chaos erupted as students collided or missed platforms. Lyra paused, studying the patterns. Her Keltron instincts kicked in. She noted the sequence of gravity shifts, the speed of platforms, and the timing of moving walls. Then she turned to her teammates. "Follow me," she said calmly. "Move slowly, watch, and jump together. I'll guide us." The four-armed alien hesitated, but Lyra's confidence was contagious. Step by step, the team followed her. She leaped onto the first rotating platform, adjusting midair. The team copied her timing. When the walls shifted, Lyra tapped the holographic panels in the correct order to open new paths. Other teams faltered. Some rushed, some argued, some tried to rely on their natural abilities alone. Lyra's team moved as a unit, fluid and precise. They reached the end of the first stage faster than most. Drawing surprised glances from alien students and instructors, the second stage was a logic puzzle, spread across a zero-gravity chamber. Floating panels displayed sequences that needed to be solved simultaneously by multiple team members. Coordination was key. Lyra quickly assigned tasks to her teammates. "You focus on the left side, the others on the right. Watch the middle panels, they control the sequence timing." The team hesitated for a moment, unsure if her instructions were correct. Lyra's calm gaze reassured them. "Trust the plan," she said. "Move together." They followed her guidance. Lyra used her quick thinking to notice a pattern in the floating panels, something others had missed. She adjusted their positions slightly, whispering instructions. Slowly, steadily, the panels lit up in green, signaling the puzzle was solved. The audience of alien students gasped. Many had failed this stage entirely, even with experience and enhancements. Lyra's team completed it flawlessly. Crive observed quietly from the control platform. His feathers ruffled in a mix of pride and amazement. He had doubted her only days ago, but now he understood the full potential of a human from Keltron. The final stage was the most challenging, an unpredictable terrain simulating a Deathworld environment. Artificial storms, shifting lava-like floors, and moving debris tested every student's reflexes and decision-making. Most aliens hesitated, unused to such extreme conditions. Lyra smiled slightly. This was familiar territory. Keltron had taught her how to read dangerous environments, anticipate hazards, and move efficiently. She guided her team into the storm, ducking low under flashing energy streams and hopping across moving platforms. One of the younger aliens stumbled, frozen by fear. Without slowing down, Lyra extended a hand. "Follow me. Don't panic." She led him safely across a series of shifting floors. The alien blinked in awe. You're incredible." Lyra merely nodded, focused on the path ahead. Step by step, jump by jump, the team moved through the Deathworld simulation. Lyra's instincts kept them safe, her planning kept them efficient, and her calm confidence kept them together. At the end of the simulation, the platform rose, signaling completion. Lyra's team had finished first, flawlessly, with no errors. The other students stared, whispering excitedly. Humans, they realized, could combine intelligence, adaptability, and teamwork in ways their species often could not. Crive stepped forward as the results were announced. "Lyra," he said, voice steady, "you have proven not only skill, but leadership. You have guided your team, solved challenges, and faced danger with intelligence and calm. You have earned respect here not through size or strength, but through courage, adaptability, and quick thinking." Lyra felt a small smile. She had not sought recognition, only challenge. But she accepted it humbly. "Thank you," she said simply. "It was a team effort. I only helped guide them." Several alien students approached her, congratulating her. One even asked for advice on moving like she did. Lyra shared simple tips. Watch first, plan, and trust your instincts. she did not boast. She only shared what she knew. Later, as the sun set over the academy, Lyra stood on a balcony overlooking the vast station. Stars twinkled in the distance, each one a reminder of the galaxy's vastness and the endless possibilities ahead. Crive approached quietly. "I misjudged you," he admitted. "I thought humans were weak, fragile, and slow. But you have proven me wrong. I will never underestimate humans again." Lyra tilted her head. "It's easy to underestimate anyone if you only look at the surface. But survival, skill, and intelligence often hide where you least expect it." The instructor nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Indeed. You have not only excelled, Lyra, but reminded all of us that strength is not always what it seems." Lyra watched as students practiced below, some trying to copy her movements, others simply admiring her from afar. She knew that she had made a difference not just by winning a challenge, but by showing the galaxy that humans were capable of extraordinary things. As she returned to her quarters that evening, she thought of Keltron, the storms, the predators, the cliffs and rivers that had taught her to survive. Every experience had shaped her into the human who could move unseen, act decisively, and inspire others. The academy had been a test, and she had passed. But more importantly, she had shown that humans were not to be underestimated. Adaptability, intelligence, and teamwork were just as powerful as claws, wings, or tentacles, and sometimes far more effective. Lyra smiled quietly. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns and challenges, but she was ready. Whatever came next, she knew humans would rise. Not through brute force, but through ingenuity, observation, and the quiet confidence that came from surviving the impossible. And somewhere deep within the academy, Crive flapped his wings, still watching her, still trying to understand how one small human girl had changed his perspective forever. For Lyra, this was only the beginning. She had arrived, proven herself, and earned the respect of a galaxy full of species. And in doing so, she had shown the universe exactly what humans were capable, even ineffable, clever, and unstoppable when they set their minds to it.